This week, I'm joined both today and a little bit more on Thursday by the Legacy Development Officer at the Erskine Veterans charity, Sarah Morgan, to explain a little bit more about the work that she does and what is a legacy and what kind of thing can you think about when we're talking about legacies. And so Sarah joins us right now. Welcome to Erskine Veterans Radio. Sarah, great to have you along.
Hello, Ian.
Thanks for joining us. And first of all, I think we'll ask that big question, really. What is a legacy? For people who are unfamiliar with that term, what is it and what does it mean to the Erskine Veterans charity?
So a legacy is a gift that has been left in somebody's will. It could be money, or it could be stocks and shares, or a specific item like art. It comes into effect after you've passed away, so it's not costing you anything at the moment. It's something that's planned for the long term.
And this is where some people might be quite surprised by this. I certainly was, that not all legacies have to be purely hard cash gifts. A certain proportion of money handed over to Erskine. Some people choose to leave possessions or rights to things that they may have, so it can be a little bit unusual.
Yeah, that's right. People are always very generous with their gifts to Erskine. We've been very lucky over the years that we've had various items donated to us, like houses, properties that they've had for businesses, even royalties to songs we have the rights to, that we get a percentage of the money when that's played. It's very interesting. There's lots of different ways that you can support legacies at Erskine.
And what makes them so special? What's the great thing about leaving a legacy?
I think that legacies are so special because it's usually a slightly larger gift than what you would donate at the moment, and it's probably the last gift that you're ever going to give. It's usually to a charity or a cause that's very close to your heart. You've probably got a reason why you would want to leave a legacy. Obviously, because there's some planning involved, it's not just quite an off-the-cuff sort of donation. So usually the people that leave legacies to Erskine have been long-term supporters for a number of years. And it's very important that we appreciate those gifts and we show people how special they are. Legacies have been supporting our veterans for over 100 years now, and we couldn't function without them.
And some of those gifts, as you mentioned, are quite unusual, particularly song royalties, which must be different because that's the kind of thing that would pay out on a fairly regular basis, I assume, as the years go on. And that is a different kind of gift and a very unique one. Not everybody has that to give, but certainly a fantastic thing to be left.
Yeah, absolutely. The royalties were a very special gift to us. And it's actually one of Harry Lauder's songs, which I know that most of our veterans are very familiar with. So every time that's played on the radio, we get a percentage of the profits from that, which is lovely. And every month I get a report that tells me how many times it's been played. It's usually more popular around Remembrance Day, obviously. So yeah, it's a really nice way to give to charity as well. A lot of people think that they have to have lots of money and lots of property to leave a gift in their will, but actually that's not the case. You can leave a small gift, even just a small £100 or 1% of your residual estate. They add up to make big amounts. And a lot of people also say that they want to make sure their families are well looked after as well. And that's absolutely the right thing to do. You should look after your family. But if you felt that you had a little bit extra that you could give to Erskine, we would really appreciate that too.
The last year has not been great for anyone, but how have legacies been affected through the course of what's happened through 2020 and into this year through the pandemic?
Yeah, it really has been unprecedented times. I've been a fundraiser for many, many years now, and I've never seen such a hit on fundraising in all my years. Unfortunately, we're at the mercy of the court system. Most estates have to go through the Scottish court system or probate in England in order to gain the certification to actually process the wills. So we have been at the mercy of that, and it has had a knock-on effect that some estates have taken quite a long time to progress. We're very fortunate that the solicitors are very much on our side, and they're very lucky to want to help us in any way they can. So they have been trying their best to progress them as much as possible. Although things have quietened off over the last year, we wouldn't have been able to continue without those legacies coming in. We also hold a lot of events for legacies specifically. I look to hold 4 or 5 a year, and unfortunately they all had to be cancelled. So that's where I would go out into the community and speak to people about the importance of the work that we do at Erskine and how important legacies are to our veterans here. So I am looking at doing some online events. So if anybody's interested in that, they can reach out to me and get an invite for that as well.
And obviously that's been one of the big challenges of the last year, but what are the other big challenges facing legacies at Erskine?
The biggest challenges that we face are usually actually getting people to sign up to write a will. A lot of people don't want to talk about writing a will, and I understand that. It's a very sensitive subject. We just are very mindful of that when we are speaking to people and making sure that it's sensitive and that we're not intruding on anyone's privacy. I can take a lot of the stress of writing a will away. We have amazing free wills available to our supporters. So if anybody wanted to write a will, they could just reach out to me and I can put them in touch with somebody that can do that for them. Or alternatively, our website has links to it's a free online will writing service.
And what are the practicalities of actually leaving a legacy? What do you actually need to do? Is it something that you have a word with your solicitor about or have a word with you about? And what's the actual process? Is it complicated?
Not really. It's actually very easy. I think people forget that writing a will isn't difficult at all. It's actually very straightforward. All you need to do is if you have a will already, you just need to speak to your solicitor and give them our charity name, our charity address and our charity number, and they can include a gift. They can amend it, adding in a codicil, which is where it's just a slip of paper that's added in and makes it official, makes it so that it's non-argumentative. Nobody can come back after you've gone and say that wasn't intended or anything like that. And it makes sure that your wishes are carried out. And like I said, we offer free wills to our supporters as well.
And how have legacies supported the work of Erskine? What sort of things particularly have they funded over the years?
Well, legacies are actually the backbone of our work because we know that we get half of our income from legacies. We are able to plan and manage things going forward into the future. Because they vary in amounts so greatly. We have had one lady who used to give us a £25 donation every time she got the newsletter in, and when she died, she'd actually left us her last gift of £25 in her will, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was very meaningful, and obviously that's how much she could afford to leave. That paid for some specialist cutlery for our dementia unit, and it is, things like that are really considered at Erskine. We'd never waste any of our money. We are very careful about how we use those funds, especially because a legacy is so important and so special. We wouldn't want anybody to feel that their donation wasn't being used effectively. We have been very lucky in receiving some larger donations as well. One paid for and built the 5 assisted living apartments that are connected onto the Erskine home. A legacy gift has also gone towards funding our new transitional supported apartments that are going to be opening very soon. People are incredibly generous. Legacies help to fund all our speech and language therapists, our physios, the activities, the advanced nurse practitioners, all the nice things that our veterans get to experience. They're usually funded by legacies.
And what about the future for legacies? Do you have future plans? What's in store over the coming year or two?
Yeah, well, legacies, because they help to fund so many of the extras for our veterans, now that the lockdown restrictions are slowly starting to ease, we're hoping that we'll be able to get back to those day-to-day trips out and things that the veterans love to do, like the fish and chip suppers and the day trips that they go onto the seaside. But in terms of legacies, the legacies are going to feature more in our advertising and social media channels going forward, just so that we can try and reach as many people as possible, because this is such a valuable and specialist area of support that we want to reach just everybody who wants to leave a gift to Erskine. We will definitely be reaching them. And it's my personal goal in life that I want to make sure everyone has an up-to-date, valid will. So yeah, that's something that I'm working on.
Okay, so a big never-ending job, that one, I think.
I think it is. It's a work in progress. But if anybody doesn't have a will, or if anybody would like to speak to me about leaving a legacy, then they're very welcome to just call me up in the office.
Sarah Morgan, Legacy Development Officer at the Erskine Veterans Charity. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.